Hey everybody, welcome back to another game from the set 7.5 PBE. This game we started Skarner with a cloak. And from our first set of minions, we actually find a Rakan, and then we get a free Ezreal 2 from our next shop. So I grabbed Nasus for our Guardian frontline. And for item components, we found a belt, tier, and then still our cloak. So no early game items that are really great for slamming. Even though we have an Ezreal 2, we're not particularly strong. So for our first augment choice, when we find Tiny Titans, I'm perfectly fine to lose streak through stage 2, come out with around 90 health, and just farm some extra gold. Hoping Ezreal 2 will allow us to kill at least a couple of units on the way. So mostly through stage 2, we're going to be holding any Guardians we can find in order to get an upgraded frontline. We do find a Twitch 2 and a Sejuani, which could lead us into a Guild Swift Shot build, even finding a Rel for our 2 Cavalier. But we do have a Zac pair now, making our Guardian frontline a little bit more likely. And I really don't want to play Twitch. Guild's my favorite trait, but I've played so much of it this PBE. You can even check out my video on it here. So I'm super down to sell this Sejuani, make 10 gold, and try and find something else that might be fun to play. I haven't messed with Guardian frontline too much in PBE. So off a second carousel, I'm going to take this Olaf with a belt, and this is going to give me a Warmogs that I can put on my Rakan. In our shop, we do find that Namzi is Cannoneer this game, which in my opinion is a really good version of Namzi. Also, there's the Evoker Namzi, which is pretty good. But we do have to sell it just for econ. Our entire strategy in stage 2 is just to lose in order to make as much gold as possible, so it's not really a great time to commit your board. Mostly just try and kill as many units as you can and save HP, and then you'll start to build a board somewhere in stage 3. And here in my shop, I find a Zeri, and what kind of clicks in my head is Namzi is Cannoneer, so we might want to play Cannoneers this game. Plus, we already have Zac and Rakan, which already share synergies with Zeri and Senna. Add Seraphine, and suddenly you have 3 Lagoon, 2 Cannoneer, 2 Ragewing, 2 Guardian, and 2 Mystic. Add Zyra, and this actually starts to look like a really good comp. Again, I sell it because gold is our main goal right now, so making 30 is really important. We even sell the Rel that we were holding on to, and getting into Krugs with a 5 loss streak. We're actually have full econ, and we're still even above the 100 HP that you start off with. But our next shop actually gives us almost the entire comp I just listed out, and I can't say no this time. We're only missing the Zyra now. And off of Krugs, we find an armor, a rod, and 6 gold. Now, typically, if I play a weak stage 2, I like to play a strong stage 3. People start to hit upgraded units in stage 3, so if you lose streak through stage 2 and 3, you start losing a whole bunch of health, so I start slamming items. Protector's Vow and Ionic Spark feel kind of like our best options. It's a bit stronger than maybe slamming Chalice or anything like that. I like playing Zeri as an AD champion, but Onyx gets a lot of value out of Seraphine, who makes all of the units around here do magic damage on hit. Kind of like the way that Scale Scorn works, except for it's just in a champion. Protector's Vow maybe should have gone on Zac instead of Rakan, or maybe even on Seraphine. Rakan tends to dash away from everyone, so it might not get a whole bunch of value off of all your different units, but it does allow us to win our first fight. For our second augment, we're offered Weak Spot, Thrill of the Hunt, or Item Grab Bag. I choose Weak Spot. We don't have any built-in anti-heal yet, or armor reduction. While we're going to play Zyra, we're not going to play Whispers, and we hit the Zac upgrade, so we're pretty strong for a stage 3 comp. Even if we start losing a couple of fights, we should be able to kill most units. And for now, our goal is kind of to go level 8. The power spike for a Zeri board is 4 Cannoneer, kind of with all the units that we just listed off, and it's really weird to try and fit everything in at level 7. So as long as you hit a Zeri 2, most of your value comes out of Cannoneer instead of actually the upgraded unit, so I think it's perfectly fine to go level 8. Not stressed about hitting Zeri 3. I've even hit Zeri 3 at level 9. And a lot of people haven't realized they need to dodge Zyras yet, so you get a lot of value out of this champion. Her being an evoker is insane, because she'll cast like 3 times throughout a fight, so she'll just constantly stun half the enemy team, plus she does a decent amount of damage actually. From Carousel, we take a Silas with a rod. We really don't have any offensive items yet. I think Zeri can use Rageblade and JG pretty well, so I'm okay slamming the rod here. We're really close to win streaking through stage 2, so I'm okay leveling to 7 at 3-6 and rolling just a little bit to try and get in a little bit more value on our board. We do hit Zeri 2, and we get in our Aphelios for another Cannoneer, and this is to try and keep our streak into Wolves. It'd be really awkward to lose it now, and we really only lose like 2 gold out of the econ, whereas we would have lost like 10 gold from losing our streak. We natural our Aphelios 2, which is pretty cool, so we're in a great spot to stay strong through stage 4 and push to level 8 and try and find Graves. Off of Wolves, we get a belt, a champion duplicator, and a bunch of gold. I do roll just a little bit. We are still looking to find our Rakan 2, our Seraphine 2, and our Zyra 2. I go ahead and slam this belt on Zac. We hit the pair for our Zyra and Seraphine, but no upgrades yet. Never dropping below 50, but kind of rolling down until then. For our third augment, we're offered Scorch, Evoker Crest, or Second Wind. Evoker Crest plus Scorch don't seem really great. We already have the 2 Evoker we want. It was either Second Wind or reroll, but Second Wind's pretty good, so we don't want to try and get more dogged on our next roll, so might as well take what we got. And while rolling down to 50, we do find ourselves a Namzi. We could get 5 Cannoneer right now, and I decided to go ahead and throw it in. Probably should not have sold 2 upgraded units for a Namzi 1, and I'm immediately punished for it, but I just kind of wanted to try the new dragon, if I'm being honest. Our Lagoon stacks do give us a bow, so we can slam Rageblade on Zeri now, and since we're only 1 off of Zeri, since we have a Nico's help, I decided to roll down to try and find our Zeri 3 so we don't lose anymore, and we hit. Kind of crazy we found 8 Zeris before 3 Namzis, but is what it it is. We do beat this Deja player, which happens to be Spicy Appies, by the way. This is really cool. I got into one of the viewer games. It was a lot of fun. Love the guy. You should go follow him on Twitch. But yeah, we're actually super happy with our comp now. Our goal is just to win streak through the rest of the stage and level up to fit in another Cannoneer. And off Carousel, we've got a Seraphine with another tier. Now we've got 2 tiers. No great spot for them to go. We find ourselves some Monolith Dragon Terra, but it really doesn't fit our comp at all. Like, at all. So we just go ahead and sell it. It is not good. And we're able to win streak our way all the way to Treasure Dragon. This game, it's the Order Treasure Dragon, so we are going to get a Radiant item. Hopefully a Radiant item that we can find for Zeri. I do see this Radiant Eternal Whisper. Gives us additional attack speed plus armor reduction. This is really great for a Cannoneer board since we already have magic resist reduction for our Seraphine magic damage, and now we have armor reduction for all the Cannoneer shots that are going to do AoE AD damage. We can't use this Rod tier at all, so we make the Archangels and reforge it, and we find us Giant Slayer. And now we got a fully itemized Zeri 3. Now we actually don't have too many frontline units, just Rakan and Zac. And so in this comp, I do believe that it's more important to have frontline items than even backline items. We were doing pretty well with the Zeri, even just a Zeri with a Rage Blade. You get a lot of damage from the Cannoneer trait, as well as just the Seraphine. So getting a bunch of take item on your frontline early game is probably a bit more important. This comp is kind of designed around bursting down our frontline pretty quickly, and then being able to get onto backline units. At 5-2, we level up to 8 just to get in 4 Cannoneer. Using Senna for now, just because of the Rage Wing bonus. It's not a huge difference, but it should allow our Rakan to at least live a little bit longer. The Rakan 3 could be pretty huge here, giving us a lot more effective HP on our front line. Seraphine 3 would actually do a bunch of damage as well. I could honestly see itemizing her if you get AP items, and then having all your high attack speed units around her. But for the most part, since we have our 3-star Zeri, I'm perfectly fine getting our econ back up and trying to go up to level 9. We have a ton of HP, a ton of gold, and there's really no reason for us to sit at 8 rerolling for a long time. On 5th carousel, we take a Zephyr. We find ourselves a Graves. Honestly, can't tell if right now is better than a Aphelios. Aphelios gives us at least a little bit of a stun, which seems like it'd be pretty good. And a Graves 1 can do a bit of damage, but he also tends to get himself killed by rushing into the enemy. Seems to be doing pretty decent here. Actually, Seraphine gives him a decent amount of shield. Holy shit. This comp is actually kind of insane. I imagine a Seraphine 3 would go off. Just swarm the units around Seraphine. So seeing there's another Nomsy player in the lobby, I feel like there's probably not a huge chance we're going to be able to get a Nomsy 3. And without items, it doesn't seem that valuable. But we win streak all the way through stage 6. And on the Test of Valor, we find a Warmogs, a Bramble Vest, and a JG. So 2 more tank items for our Zac. And now our front line's pretty good. And here at 6-2, I decide to level up to 9. And we throw in a Lee Sin just to get the Tempest bonus. It's fine for now. Ideally, we'll find ourselves a legendary unit like Yasuo or even Bard, just for a little bit of CC. And in the case of Bard, we get some Mystic in, which would be great against this Deja player. But we're also at the point of the game where positioning is probably going to matter more than anything else. On 6th carousel, it's just me and the other guys. So I take this Yasuo with a Giant Slayer. And I actually don't even remember selling this guy at all. Okay, I put it on the Cannoneer, but I think that a Yasuo 2 would probably give us a little bit more than the Tempest bonus. And Yasuo CC is just so much more valuable than Lee Sin. So I definitely should not have done that, as well as I'm positioning the Seraphine nowhere near my main attackers. So that's griefing my damage a whole bunch. I think right now I was just tunneling on trying to find this Graves 2. Oh, and then I put the items on Zyra. This is why I always get a second place. I have the tendency to tunnel vision at the end of a combat. We're still pretty strong. We only have to beat this guy in a couple more fights, so I'm pretty sure we have a huge chance at being able to win. I'm not too worried about it, but it is kind of cringe. We did make this Jace 2, which I decided to throw in over the Lee Sin, and we find a Titans off of the neutral round. And then I just roll down trying to find Graves 2. We only need to win 2 more fights in order to win the game. I really wish I had gone for Yasuo instead of this Jace. It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. We're also really close to Rakan 3. I do remove the Titans from Jace and put it on Graves, just to make him hopefully do a little bit more damage and survive into the fight a bit longer. I also position him next to Seraphine, so he gets the extra shielding and magic damage. I think I was griefing my Seraphine positioning. She should be next to literally all of your units, since she gives them everyone a big shield. And actually our Zyra's doing pretty good damage, hitting most of their team in the back line. He hasn't tried to position against our Zyra at all, it seems, for the most part. And since he thinks I'm probably trying to Zephyr his main damage dealers, like Engrave or his Aphelios, I decide to target his Bard. Bard's ult adds so much damage amplification to the game, as well as stunning your entire team. So Zephyring a Bard 2 actually wins us this last combat, and that's how you play Zeri carry. But if you'd like to learn how to play that Guild Swiftshot build I was talking about earlier, you can click on the screen now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace, gamers.